Welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, in case you didn't know and you're watching live, this may come as a shock to you, but it's Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Pacific, and I'm Chris of the Northwest, and we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the world. So while you're sloshing around in your shoes, that's exactly what it sounds like. We'll be caching in the Northwest. Make sure that's in stereo for the people that, have the podcast plugged directly into their brain.
Fully effects at no extra charge. That's right. Tonight we're talking about wet weather gear. And hopefully your socks aren't not the wet part. They can be the gear part, but not the wet part. Hopefully. We'll see. Anyway, live audience, we know you've got wet weather gear stories. Jump in there. Get them ready. We want to hear from you. But first, of course, well, it's time to bring in our soaked spider monkey. Some say he's got a maple leaf tattoo in an unspeakable area. I think it's Wallerton. And others say he's like January. He's cold, he's dark, and he comes with a huge credit card bill. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Huh? And he's muted.
I can't find the button. I found the button.
Okay. It's going to be a really quiet podcast there.
The mouth moving was, I can't find the button. And then
it might be a good thing sometimes.
Oh. Yeah. Hey, how we doing?
Hey. Good. How's the credit card?
It's actually pretty manageable. It was a very responsible holiday season, and the maple leaf tattoo is looking good.
I'll take your word for that.
It did not need to know that.
Hey, I'm not the one who shares all these personal details. They are shared on my behalf, usually without,
Maple leaf tattoo is on your behalf too, from what I hear.
It's on some half. All right. Good to see you guys. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, it's Thursday.
What could Thursday.
What could be better than Thursday?
Thursday night with my buddies. Doesn't get much better than this. Hey, you folks out there in watching Chatland.
Is it Podcast Land?
Podcast Land, sure.
Are we in Podcast Land or are they in Podcast Land?
I feel like we're in Podcast Land and they're in Chat
the real
land,
world.
And the borders are unsecured. There's free passage between Podcast Land and Chat Land. So we invite all those in Chat Land to let us know how they're doing tonight. Anyhow.
Hi, people.
Hey, we love you guys.
The borders are fuzzy.
Borders are fuzzy.
It's not the only thing that's fuzzy, but yeah.
Ice are too.
Yeah. And speaking of fuzzy things, we want to give a warm and fuzzy and a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who make us all warm and fuzzy, usually where the tattoo is. And we appreciate their support.
No, you can't do that. No.
Just edit it out later, Chris.
I usually don't draw a line.
Yeah.
And I'm not letting that go. Okay, move on.
Look back there. There's a line. Anyhow, we appreciate the support of all of you patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. And thanks to Land Sharks. Hey, you know what I'm not doing? I'm not putting my little icon up there. There we go. Thanks to Land Sharks, one of our corporate Denali level sponsors. And folks, if you are interested in a future Land Sharks adventure, well, just head over to landsharkz.ca and scroll through their website. If you want to buy some geocaching supplies, some coins, absolutely. But if you want to look into their future geocaching adventures, well, check that out as well. And I would be remiss if I were not to mention our other corporate Denali level sponsor, which is Gold Country Geotourism. Visit exploregoldcountry.com. Learn more about the geotours and the region. And, if you want to find out what's happening in Gold Country, visit them online or don't forget to download the app. That's right. So if you want to know more about supporting this here podcast show, well, why don't you head on over and click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com a website.
That's right. Thank you, both Gold Country and
Mhm.
Land Sharks.
You
Hey.
guys are awesome.
I'm going to ask you a question. This is the interactive part. Well, the start of the interactive part of the podcast. It's time for a glow. Do you know what a glow is?
I don't. Tell
What's
me
a
what I'll
glow,
do.
Chris?
Look at half of the script is right there on the screen right now. Glow is the geocaching log of the week. So whether you wrote it or you read it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can also call in at 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow. And folks, we do need your glows. Please glow all over us.
One never knows when one has glowed the last, and there's no more glow, and that would be sad.
Yes.
Fear not, we have a glow for tonight from Kev MacD. So thank you to Kev MacD for bringing the glow tonight. It's from a cache GC9M1XX. So this is a double X rated. No, it's not.
It seems to be. Well, it's Kev MacD.
GC9 Mike 1 X-ray. Okay. The log says, I was out today with Acadian Pie to get my smiley after a truly epic failed attempt at FTF. Let's go back to the beginning. When the cache and the associated Adventure Lab got published, I was out the door to attempt FTF. Bonus final coordinates came with only one small glitch. The final Adventure Lab stop was about 25 meters from what the Adventure Lab stop indicated. After wandering up the wrong fork a ways, I doubled back to try the other fork, and the required plaque came into view. Perfect. On that day, it's raining. However, for the 2 previous days, it had been snowing. Snow isn't very common in Vancouver, but it's very beautiful. Regular walkers admiring the snowy trails had compressed the snow into hard and somewhat slick snow. You might even call it ice. But again, on that day, it was raining. And I don't mean the rain that Vancouverites consider regular or even the hard rain that some might call cats and dogs, but the type of rain the weather people call an atmospheric river.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I just threw that.
I know a little bit about rain as a Vancouverite, but I was surprised that rivers could be in the atmosphere. I mean, like standing under a river falling from the sky. Yet here I was, looking up at a 900-meter as the crow flies walk to the final. FTF on the line. Okay, get started. Slightly over a kilometer of trail, and I find myself at the RZ. Now, an RZ is a lot like a GZ, except it's the river zero as opposed to the ground zero. Water up to my ankles, flowing down the trail, down onto the trail, from uphill and down off the trail towards where the cache is surely hidden. I searched for the cache for 40 minutes or so before conceding that 4 inches of water, 3 inches of snow, and some bouncy GPS signals defeated me. I was wet, cold, and frustrated. Turning back towards the car, I slipped and fell on the icy wet trail and threw my phone into the snow as I did so. Don't worry, I didn't get any colder or wetter. That wouldn't be possible unless I was doing a polar bear swim. I was relieved I didn't break my ankle and that my watch could help me find my phone. And then I did realize I was in trouble as my ankle would not take much weight without huge amounts of pain. I had my phone back and a full day pack, including survival gear and ham radio, but my first thought was to try to hobble back to the car, which I did over the next hour. Occasional stops in the deeper cold puddles for a few minutes really helped ease the pain. I met a few other cacher people by the car who all thought I was crazy for trying that walk in this rain. And aren't we all a little bit crazy? I went home for a hot shower and a change of clothes, as I anticipated a long emergency room wait. No point being freezing cold and wet if the wait turned into 12 hours. Fortunately, I was in and out in under 3 hours. Prognosis from the doctor: you would have been far better off if the ankle was broken. Thanks, Doc. Okay, back to the present moment. I started the day with a follow-up x-ray of the ankle and then met up with Acadian Pie. She suggested that I get back on the horse and let's go get it. A lovely sunny day, a dry trail, a good friend, and hey, a nice big geocache. Not anywhere near FTF, but a find and a smiley. Cache is dry and in good shape. Thank you, Keats, for the adventure. Yes, exactly. And he thanks Keats for the adventure. So apparently that was hidden by Keats and, well, as we now know, found and logged by Kev MacD and Acadian Pie.
Acadian Pie.
Among others.
Amongst others. And as Brylang would say, oh, for Keats' sake.
That's right.
That is quite the log. I mean, I would imagine if I was Keats and I had a log like that come in, I would sit there reading it and just, I mean, enjoy the story.
Yeah,
I am familiar with Kev MacD's ice rain ankle accident and the long time it took him to heal up from that. So good for him for getting back out there and getting the find eventually. Yeah. Keats's caches are popular lately. He I featured one of his caches for a big adventure in my video that went live this week.
There you go.
And then Kev MacD put this one in. What's up,
I
man?
have to say, we've got great feedback on this one. So, Keats, love geocachers for excellent writing, or leave it to geocachers for excellent writing. Great glow. Seaback Tribe says, what a great glow and log.
Yeah.
There you go. Absolutely.
Kitty Quest says, great glow. Apparently, she speaks in a normal volume. You just can't say her name in a normal volume.
Yeah.
We're not sure why, but that's just a thing. Yeah.
Brylang says, great log. So, yes, it's a great story. I think we can all relate to that.
Well,
right?
maybe not the messing up your ankle part, but definitely the adventure.
I've done that. Going, on a day looking for caches, in a series of caches that were put out. We're going to get them all in a day. And what was there, 2 or 3 left? And I stepped in a hole and twisted my ankle hard.
Oh,
to the point I was with IHAM and I said, okay, you're driving. Because that was my accelerator foot. And I kind of needed that. And, or maybe not. I could just, leave it there.
Yeah.
Put it down and go. I'd get to the caches quicker.
GSM times 2. Oh, sorry. Finish your story. I'm sorry.
And the last one, the last location, you had to walk. It seemed like a quarter mile. We couldn't get parking nearby. I was like, I'm not giving up. I'm limping to this one. I'm getting this. Anyway. Sorry,
did you get it?
Yes, we got it.
Excellent.
And then I could go sit down for a week.
And was it worth it?
I remember it.
So yes.
It was a Team Noltex puzzle type cache. So yes,
then it's
the
worth
Clue
it.
series. I don't know if you did the Clue series here in Tacoma.
I haven't yet, but I have heard so many good things.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, Team Noltex. What else do you have to say?
Yeah.
Yes.
I see GSM times 2 said that he would copy and paste the geocaching injury disclaimer into the description of Keats' cache. I don't want to be unfair to Keats because I think it was the conditions at the time that were the issue.
The atmospheric rivers don't happen all the time.
Well, an atmospheric river on top of ice. Yeah. You can't really get much worse conditions than that.
Hey, but if there's an FTF to get, you're going to risk it.
Yeah. You're going to risk it.
I think GSM times 2 is having some keyboard issues as well, based on what I'm seeing come up in the chat there. That's funny. Thanks for the laugh. Anyhow, yes, Kev MacD, thank you for sending in. Well, first of all, thank you for writing a great log on Keats' cache. Second, that's number 2. Thanks for sending it in to us as a glow. And if he doesn't already have one, I guess he gets the glow badge for this year.
The 2023 glow badge. Could we have an example of what the 2023 glow badge may look like?
Maybe. I don't know. You said it was a different color. No?
No, you've got it made, so we're using this.
I see. Well, my transition is from last year, but the let's see. This is the fail part. There you go. How about that?
There you go.
Very
Look
nice.
at that.
This is what happens when you try to put the graphics at the last minute and didn't get the chroma settings correct. So, but yeah, there's what I.
Looks good, buddy. Thank you for that work.
Sky blue
Sure.
in the land of sky blue glows.
It's kind of an ice blue in honor of Kev MacD.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Ice, baby.
Which
Yeah.
will eventually turn to more of a green
Mhm.
before
And purple.
Yeah.
purple and then green.
So yes, thanks for the log. Thanks for the glow. Thanks to Keats for putting out caches. And,
Yes.
keeping the game board alive.
Yep. And I think I've heard a rumor from Keats himself that he's about to do a mass archiving and put some new ones out. So we're looking forward to that.
Ooh, a refreshing of the game board, if you will.
Indeed. All
Tan
right.
fast.
Sorry, what?
Tan fastic.
Yes. Sorry. I thought, I must not have heard Chris correctly. No, I did.
Yeah, he did. He's typing with somebody else's keyboard. Just sometimes his keyboard there.
Probably. IHAM adds, unfortunately, the Clue series has now been retired.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
again,
they did
refreshing
work
the
on
game
their
board.
final location. Well, and where are you going to put the final to a Clue, the Clue game, if not in the? Oh, I suddenly forgot the word.
Federal
Conservative.
Penitentiary?
Conservatory. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
The conservatory. That's brilliant.
Yes. So we have a conservatory here in Tacoma.
Many of the actual caches are still active,
Oh,
but
okay.
the series as a series and the final for the puzzle is no longer active. So
Very cool. GSM times 2 says that he's not the only one with keyboard issues tonight.
that's right.
And fair point.
Yes. Well, I don't think it's a keyboard. I think it's the fingers, because that's what happens with me. My keyboard seems to work fine, unless I'm using it.
Yeah, I have that problem with phones. My thumbs are much too big
Yes.
or slow or something. I don't know. Yes.
Folks, if you want to get in on the chat tonight, we're live at 9 p.m. every Thursday. Just use the hashtag WET. That's easy to spell, W-E-T, WET.
Mhm.
I got that one. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Of course, you can use the hashtag FATAS if you want to bring up something for the after show. Perhaps it's an event you're having this weekend. Perhaps it's, I don't know, something you did that you want to tell us about that's maybe not related to wet weather. Maybe you're in Arizona and you found a great cache and you want to tell us about it. It can
Yes,
rain
please.
in Arizona, but it doesn't. And also use the hashtag podcast baking to tell us what you've got cooking tonight, and the hashtag podcast drinking to tell us what you're sipping tonight. And I think Seebeck Tribe wanted to use the hashtag podcast laundry.
The list just keeps on growing.
Telling you.
what you're doing tonight, right? There it is.
Funny.
Podcast laundry.
All right. Well,
Hey.
hey,
Clothes in the washer. Oops.
well, while we're on the topic, I'll share my podcast drinking for tonight. So tonight I am enjoying a beverage. It is a Parallel 49 Jerk Face 9 million, which just seems highly appropriate for me to be drinking during a podcast.
Jerk face.
9 million.
Your drink.
Yeah. I don't even know where to go from that.
Well, that was the opportunity for a segue.
Were you done? I didn't want to interrupt.
I'm done.
Jerk face.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hashtag jerk face. Keats goes, can't we use moist? Everyone's favorite word.
Moistly
Moist.
speaking,
Okay.
Moist is nice in a cake.
you guys know the moist speaking thing, right? From the
No.
beginning of COVID, from our prime minister.
No.
No.
It was the whole thing about like why to wear masks. And so when we were trying, our prime minister was trying to encourage people right at the beginning of COVID, like, folks, you really need to be thinking about wearing masks when you go in public. And this whole thing came up. He used the term speaking moistly. And boy, did that take off. That just became its own thing for quite a while.
I can't imagine.
You know, Canada.
Yeah.
We speak moistly. Mostly.
Mostly.
Mostly. It was only mostly.
Oh,
All right.
funny. Hey, there was some news from the geocaching blog this week.
What was
Yeah.
that?
Did you read?
No.
Are
Read
you
it to
in the
me.
know? Hey, let me tell
I
you.
show up here so that you will read me the news from the geocaching blog. That's why I come here on Thursday nights.
I thought it was the contract. Okay. Anyway, they had 5 tips for hosting, not hoisting, not moisting, hosting an excellent geocaching event. Tip number 1, pick a good event location. Now, you know, you always think about this, right? Good location goes a long way in making your event a success. Pick a place that's easily accessible and that can accommodate the number of people you will expect to log a will attend. That's, kind of the basics. But do you ever think about that? Well, if you host an event, how many people are going to show up? Depends on where and when. And, it could be 10, it could be 100, so you got to pick a place that's going to host them all and they can stay dry and not be moist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll just keep using that word tonight.
Sorry, I am laughing at that, but I'm also laughing because I'm following the chat while you're speaking. They've gone. They're really playing off of the whole wise monkey here tonight.
It's the paycheck. That's why monkey's here. I thought it was
Like
the court
my
order.
coaster.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are awesome. I love our chat. Okay.
Oh, here.
Sorry, Chris.
Yes,
Please
Stu has
continue.
real information.
That's right.
He goes, 4 times as many that logged a will attend.
Yes.
That's how many will show up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're back to the moist chat.
Moist chat. That's that's moi Saint Chat, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, your Saint Chat?
I don't know. Just reading it.
It's community service the monkey must do.
Oh, thanks, Yoda.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, so pick a good location, a location that will hold 4 times as many people that host a will attend. Because, I like to surprise people and say, hey, look, I'm here. Hey, we didn't know you were coming. That's exactly right.
That's the point. I've done that.
Chris, did you want us to jump in and help here, or are you good to keep going?
I'm just lost on the first point. Let me come back around to the second point. It says, write a thoughtful event description. And this is an area where I have a problem, right? I mean, I have lots of problems.
And you're going to hear about
I waited. Somebody's going to argue. No, not you. But there was crickets. So thanks, guys. I appreciate
Got
that.
a lot of problems, and you're going to hear about them right now. Doesn't matter that it's not Festivus. Here we go.
Thanks, GSM times 2. He says, I may be having keyboard issues, but Chris of the Northwest is having lip issues. Each and every night, I have lip issues. It's the tongue. I think it's too big for my mouth. Okay.
Not touching that.
Spend some time reviewing your event description before submitting your event cache and make sure it gives plenty of information about the event. Not just the what, when, and where. While those are incredibly helpful, right? Tell a little bit about the place you're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Or the theme of the event, if it's going to be like a night to work on puzzles as a group, yep. Or if it's going to be, if there's a particular theme in like national whatever day. That's something that's I've noticed has been going on a lot lately. Is folks are enjoying celebrating obscure national or international days of celebration, which is fun, right? So I think but yeah, include that in the description. Chris, I thought it was interesting. You said that you struggle with authoring descriptions for events. I'm surprised by that. I find you are usually, when you're not speaking on a podcast, relatively eloquent. So
No, I don't talk well. You read number.
You
you
talk
read number
good.
3. I not write good. You read number 3 since you've already talked about it.
Okay. Wow. You know what's funny is that I was not reading ahead, so that's
you
perfect. Give your event a theme or an optional activity. Spice up your event with a theme and optional activity. Your event could be a pancake breakfast on Mardi Gras, a detective-themed event where cachers share tips for solving puzzles, or a pirate-themed event on International Talk Like a Pirate Day. The options are endless.
And for even more added fun, tell just 1 or 2 cachers that's a different theme and see what happens.
Especially if it's going to be Talk Like a Pirate Day. Only tell like a couple people. Yeah.
So tell them it's a toga party or something.
Exactly. You say it's a toga party for one day, and then you go change the description. And everybody who signed up that day will come dressed as in toga, and nobody else will.
This is such good information.
I have an event coming up on Saturday. Maybe I'll go change the description right now. To toga event. And
there's nothing like good information, and this is nothing like good information.
Your words hurt. Oh, let's see. Andy says the jerks are called. It's time for another jerk face.
I don't know. Is there room for another one on the podcast, Chris?
I don't know. Wet Coaster says, I just washed my face and I can't do a thing with it. Okay.
Jim, do you want to take number 4?
Well, number 4 is if it's a supplies event, you should bring supplies. No, that's not it at all. You should, though, bring supplies.
Look, back there. That's that line again.
Yeah. Things that most people don't think about bringing because they're always there when somebody else hosts: name tags, pins, trackables. People like to trade trackables at events. Maybe you've got a whole shoebox full that you keep forgetting to move along.
Or bring an empty shoebox to help people have a place to put the trackables.
Maybe a few extra trackables that you've got for a drawing, which means you'll also need to bring in a little keep this ticket stub and ticket stub and that kind of thing. But and of course, well, you need a logbook, and it doesn't have to be paper, right? You don't have to. I know I see Chris shaking his head. You don't have to sign a log technically at an event, but
is that what Chris sounds like, Jim?
Sometimes when his lips are working well.
You know what? Let's talk about wet weather. Let's get off of talking about me.
I don't know. I'm kind of having fun ragging on Chris now.
But it could be, it could be an actual log. It could be a bottle of barbecue sauce. I have signed some interesting items at events. So
indeed.
One of my last events, I brought a chunk of cement board I had left over. It has texture on one side, and that just created all. People are like, "This is the log. This is hard to sign. Work on it. Just sign your name." Yeah,
there you go.
It's a roast for Chris of the Northwest.
You only roast the ones you love. Imagine if you didn't like it, Chris.
I need this last tip. This is the 5th point, right? Yeah, have fun and make new friends.
Good idea.
Right? Don't invite your old friends to any of these events.
Especially after tonight.
Especially if they're podcast hosts.
Yeah.
The most important tip for making your event excellent is to have fun. Get to know your local geocaching community and add some new friends to your geocaching crew. And, maybe new podcast hosts.
I'm thinking my days might be numbered here. Who knows?
I doubt it.
Make new friends to call Jerkface.
Yeah.
I was talking about the beer.
I feel like we got a theme going tonight. Well, as GSM times two said earlier, we're halfway through the podcast and yet no mention of wet weather gear. So why don't we segue on behalf of GSM times two, and let's start talking about some wet weather caching gear. Although I will, before we get into it, those are some actually, as much fun as we were having beating Chris up and also just riffing off the ideas. Those are some great ideas. If you haven't hosted an event before, give it a thought. Maybe it's something you can do this year. It's not that hard. It's pretty easy to just have a little meet and greet at a coffee shop or donut shop. It is a great way to get started at it.
And from the chat there, don't intimidate the new cachers in attendance. Boy, howdy. It's so easy for, as he says, experts, Wet Coaster contributed this, experts standing around discussing difficult finds can make new people shy away from joining in. So
good advice, Wet Coaster. Yep, absolutely. And that's the thing that as well, right? Keep in mind is that events are something, as experienced cachers, us and a lot of the people in the chat, I'm sure, are like, oh yeah, we're always watching for events and we'll go to the ones that we want and and we'll meet up with some friends and we'll chit chat and whatever. But I think it's always great to remind new cachers what events are, how to come out and just get connected with the community, because it can be a little intimidating at first. So, if you haven't hosted one yet, give it a go. And if you haven't been to one yet and you're listening to this podcast, we're not all as crazy as these three guys. So, go check it out.
Yeah. I mean, don't base your typical geocacher on what you see here on Thursday night.
Jim and I promise, if you come out to your first event, we won't be mean to you. We'll save it all for Chris.
Thank you. Wait, that could drive cachers away because they think, well, they're just going to pick on me next.
Oh, well. Hey, let's talk about wet weather caching gear. We're going to cover a few different things tonight. There's lots of things you can consider. Of course, we're in the Pacific Northwest. We are used to January being wet weather per Kev MacD's log.
yes.
And folks, we've got some great ideas and suggestions. We'll talk about a couple of particular products, but we also want to hear from you as to your preferred or favorite wet weather caching gear. And I'll just sort of pause it there. And Jim, do you want to maybe get us started with some thoughts around where you would start with gear you'd bring?
Well, so often we talk about gear and especially clothing gear, and we always talk about layers. So I guess you could start at the inner layer and work out, or the outer layer and work in. But let's start out and talk about the outer, the upper layer, your jacket. Some people call it a shell. It's wet weather gear. You want something that's going to repel the wet. Hoodie, cotton hoodie, probably not your best friend as an outer layer on a wet day. I tend to go with whatever plastic sheeted windbreaker was given away at the last trade show I was at, or hefty bag or something of that nature, because I'm cheap. But I have a hunch that Len Monkey's got something much nicer than that.
I do, but Chris,
Chris
why don't you jump in? You've got one that you had identified, and you never failed to share with us before the podcast about how amazing your new wet weather gear is.
Well, I got some new wet weather gear, and I got to try it out at the cache machine. So the 20th anniversary Bremerton cache machine. The day was wet. It was a wet day, my friends. It started out dark and rainy.
Was it dark and stormy?
Dark and stormy. And it never got any better. It was dark and stormy all day. Light. I'm driving in the car. I need the headlights all day long. It's that kind of dark and stormy. Let me tell you, by the end of the day, the WeatherTech floor mats had water sloshing around in the driver's seat. Okay. That's the idea of how wet it is.
It was damp. It was moist.
But me, I was warm and dry.
Ooh, do tell.
Yes. Not, sloshing around in my boots. No, let me tell you. I started the day with an outdoor research jacket. This one is the Motive Ascent shell. And this year, well, maybe at the end of last year, I decided, you know what? The rain jacket that I've been using for quite some time doesn't repel like it used to. I don't know if I've washed it too much, but it at first it repelled water perfectly. And then slowly it would get a little wet. And then, lately it just seems to suck the water in from around me as I'm walking through. So it's like, okay, this is fine in dry weather, but I need a new jacket.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. So I went to our local REI because I can order these things online, but I want to try them, right?
Mhm.
Each jacket has a little different feel, different fit. How's this one going to fit on me? Is it long? Is it short? And I honed in on the outdoor research products. I found one that I really like that has side zippers. And these side zippers can go up or down. Well, that of course the zipper does, right?
You mean Chris, sorry, are you talking about pit zips?
Yes.
Okay.
So vents, if you want to call them that, there are vents on the side in the pits, but there are also zippers at the bottom edge on the side to come up that allow you to sit a little more freely. Say getting in and out of the car, it allowed that little extra freedom there. The Ascent shell is not insulated.
Okay.
So it's
a layer.
It's a layer. It's not there to keep you warm. What you have underneath is going to keep you warm. And being able to regulate your vents, right, as you get more active or less active, allows you to also regulate your heat. And I stayed completely dry in this shell. The hood also has a bit of a bill on it, right? So it stays crisp at the top there, and has a pull in the back to help you adjust it to fit your head. So it's not 3 feet out in front of you and you feel like you're in a tunnel all day, or it's not too short and your glasses are getting wet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you can adjust it just right. And I love this jacket. Now, it's a little expensive, right? I want to say if you go out and buy it now, it's $200. Wait.
You know what though? I think the reality, Chris, is that any really good outdoor rain repellent, rain preventing wet weather gear is going to be a little pricey, and it's an investment that's worth making if you plan to cache when the weather is not fair. And if you live in the Pacific Northwest, that's 80% of the year. So
Right.
it's unless you move to where it's drier. But I think that's an investment worthwhile making, because it's that outer shell that will make or break the difference in your day.
Exactly. MC3 Cat says Outdoor Research is a Seattle area company. There are others. I picked this particular one. That doesn't mean others are not as good. This is the one that worked for me. And there is an outdoor research outlet store in Kent. And in fact, my wife and I were driving around and it was like, that's an outdoor research store. Let's stop. And things were 50 to 75% off. And if they had your size, you may not be able to pick the color. I went and tried the Ascent shell there. It just happened to be, duck yellow. And I thought, no, this is not quite the color I'm looking for personally. But, I wore it. I wore it in the store for half an hour as we walked around. And I was like, okay, I'm not hot. I'm not cold. This is actually quite nice. And this is something you can't do online, right? And that's what I went into.
What's funny? You say that because I actually bought mine online, but my current shell that I use for poor weather, but I bought mine a recommendation from Brylang, who I saw him wearing his, and he has the Columbia OutDry jacket. Now, OutDry is a technology or a fabric type that the company Columbia uses for a number of different jackets. And so if you go to their website, to the Columbia website, you can see it. And so, I went through their website and did some sizing and picked the one that worked for me. And I have been absolutely delighted. I bought it before our Euro 2022 trip we did, and we got caught in a couple of pretty bad rainstorms when we were exploring Europe.
Would you
And
call them a river? Like an
it
atmosphere?
was one of them for sure when we were in Copenhagen was atmospheric river style. And this thing was amazing. And I've been wearing it here since I've got back. It's a fantastic shell. It's if you take a look at it online, you'll see what they've done is it is the waterproof type material, has some great pit zips in my version. Now, here's an interesting thing is like with any of this product, there's different sizes, fits, versions of these. So, Bri Lang, myself, Acadian Pie, who was on the hike with me. So I think it was I mentioned earlier in the chat, but if you watch my latest video on YouTube, you'll see us all wearing the same kind of jacket, but there are different versions of the same jacket. From Columbia, and their out dry basically has whatever they do with the material. It is absolutely impervious to rain. And then what they do is they put the tape on the outside of the stitches to really waterproof the jacket. So, thank you, Bri Lang, for putting me onto the Columbia out dry technology. I absolutely love that shell. Again, cost a little bit more, but I think somebody else, there's a couple of people who, here we go, CRS 98. Rule number one, you get what you pay for. Spend money on the shell. Absolutely. Honestly, underneath the shell, whatever you layer up, you're probably going to put a polar fleece, and then you're going to put like a technical fabric a t-shirt is what most people tend to do. And those will give you great layers, and they can be there's so many options and varieties on those layers. But man, you want to spend money on that exterior layer because that's the one that's going to make or break your day.
Exactly. And make sure you get a size that you can wear a few layers underneath. Right?
Good advice.
So it may be a little large in the spring, but in the winter, you're going to need that extra space to put in a polar fleece or two and, 6 layers of your sports wicking, water wicking fabric underneath.
Keats added something I want to jump to, and there's a I don't think we can keep up with the feedback in the chat right now, but do you want to pull up the breathable one that Keats just posted there? Breathable jackets are a necessity, and I think that's an important point when you're hiking. If you're going to do a long hike, if you're just doing like low energy kind of stuff, then like your Helly Hansen rubberized rain gear is going to keep you absolutely dry, but you're going to get real warm. That stuff
and not a lot of flexibility,
and not a lot of flexibility for crawling under trees to find those caches, but it will definitely keep you dry. But it's like, know the right gear for what you're doing. Again, right, you can't go wrong with the Helly Hansen stuff. They're rubberized stuff if you're looking at just keep me dry. But if you're going to be hiking up 900 meters of incline, you don't want to be wearing that.
Exactly. So
Sorry.
let's see.
Did I take you off track?
No. I was looking for.
There's so much in the chat. You guys are amazing. We can't keep up tonight.
Exactly. Seaback Tribe says, I saw so many cachers wearing sweatshirts at the cache machine in the mid-morning event. Sweatshirts and jeans. Oh. And I would see, they're wet up to their knees and they're wet down to, their bellies. It's just that midsection that seems to stay dry somehow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, wearing here's Wet Coaster saying, get a jacket with vents in the side. Keeping water out keeps heat and sweat inside. Yeah. Being able to vent is important. And
I call them pit zips. You're calling them vent. Yeah. Same idea. Yeah. It's those zippers under the arms that go like halfway down your chest. They make a huge difference.
So, Keats also says carrying a spare jacket is always a good option.
Yeah, right? If you've got the capacity in your pack, for sure. Can you pull up what Carlo? Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about what CRS 98 has there.
It says Gore-Tex rain jacket. Full stop.
Yeah, yeah, great fabric for sure. I bring up just Carlo, because we haven't gotten to this, and I don't know if you're going to get to. I know you want to talk about pants,
Mhm.
but this is something I definitely agree with. Is your footwear? So he says he's got Columbia waterproof hiking sneakers and a couple pairs of Vessi shoes. I have a pair of Vessi shoes. Mrs. Monkey bought them for me as a gift. Doing that, well, I don't usually buy shoes online. I don't know. We were kind of like, I don't know about this. They have become they were my travel shoes when we went to Europe, and they are my go-to Vancouver life and travel shoes. It's a Vancouver product. They're made locally here in BC, and they are insanely waterproof yet breathable. They're not Gore-Tex, but you check them out. VESSI. I think .com or .ca. Either one will work probably. But you can buy them online. The prices are reasonable. They're a little higher than, maybe your average running shoes, but they are insanely waterproof, yet comfortable and breathable. So I would highly recommend those. And then the other thing is, when I'm hiking, leather boots, full leathers, and I oil them up. I am always keeping on top of the oiling the boots, and that makes a big difference as well. All right.
So, okay, we'll stick with shoes. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
GSM times 2 says always put an extra pair of shoes in the car, even in dry weather. Yeah.
Good advice.
Keith's friend ordered me Vessies for my birthday.
Nice.
Let's see.
That's a good friend. Don't lose that friend.
Yeah.
There are some others. Andy says, Andy, you have to tell us your geocaching name. I can't come up with it.
It's a plant.
Oh, it's a plant? He's just a plant? Okay. Lots of running shoe companies have Gore-Tex versions now. Asics, Solomon, etc., and are great. I have a good pair of hiking shoes. I think I invested in those a couple of years ago, right? So each year I try to get a little better gear, right, as we go along. And I've had these hiking shoes long enough, hiking boots, that they're broken in and they're very comfortable. I can wear them all day with no problem. Thank you, Andy. A plant for what?
Exactly.
No.
For good advice on shoes.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure you have a pair of comfortable shoes that are waterproof, and you can treat those shoes to increase their water resistance, right? You want to keep the water off, keep it away. Let's see. Wet Coaster. Wits End, you want to read that one?
Check out stores with construction worker clothing. Those people are outside all the time, regardless what the weather is. And that's a good tip because, well, I like to say, yes, it's a good tip. I can relate to that tip because that's the pair of boots that I have. I bought at a construction store. I bought them on a Black Friday deal in 2019. And no kidding, I have worn them almost every single day for 3 years plus.
Wow.
They're held up well. I went in thinking I was going to go with the Red Wing or whatever. Wound up with Redback boots. They're made in Australia and they're excellent. They're just pull on. I think the model is the Easy Escape. It's a what do they call that? A Romeo boot. It's over the ankle, soft boot. Very very waterproof and very comfortable. And yeah, I love them.
Can I just say that I am really looking forward to the sponsorships that we're going to get from all these different companies who we are saying how great their products are.
Yeah. And we're just mentioning what we have and what we've experienced.
Fair enough.
Not saying there's anything wrong with anything that you have. This is what we have and what we experience. Please let us know what you're using and how well it works for you.
We've talked about this. GSM times 2 just shared something that we've talked about many times in the podcast before. And I think we alluded to it earlier. Jim, you alluded to it earlier in the comments about wearing a cotton hoodie when you go in a rainstorm. But GSM times 2 says, remember, cotton kills. I'm a little dramatic, but the point being, Leave the jeans, t-shirts, and cotton socks at home. Absolutely. And then on the theme of socks, since we're talking footwear, um, Chris says the Darn Tough socks are great. I think all of us are big advocates of Darn Tough as a sock company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lifetime warranty.
They're supposed to have a lifetime warranty. I got my son a pair. He's in his 20s. I figured, you know what? Let's test it out for him. Right? Hey, son, I'm going to buy you one pair of socks. That's all you're ever going to need.
Worn it every day for 3 years. Oh, no.
Like,
now, let me back up.
Sorry.
Let me back up to the cotton.
Yeah.
Cotton is fine if it's your backup clothes. You know, hey, I'm done caching. I want to get out of my wet gear and go into the event. Put on your cotton stuff then. But don't wear it when you're going to be out in the rain. Okay, there. That was it. You know, keep an extra shirt, pants, shoes, and socks in the car just in case.
Change of clothes. Like if you're going out caching and either the weather is calling for wet or you know it's already wet, just throw a change of clothes in the Jeep. I mean, worst case scenario. And don't forget the towel, Chris. Worst case scenario, you get back to the vehicle and you got to change. And, you know, I mean, I don't know. Everybody's personal comfort level may vary, but I think most of us would be okay to just get changed in our vehicle if we're soaking wet into dry clothes for the drive home after
exactly
soaked to the bone.
Exactly. Keith says merino wool socks are a great addition. Compared to synthetic, merino wool tends to keep heat better even when wet. MC3 Cats throws in the warranty on those Darn Tough socks are legit. I've used it twice now.
All right.
There you go.
So he has at least one pair of Darn Tough socks that he wears every day, apparently.
Excellent.
Cool.
Wool socks, allergic to pure wool. The Hoopy Froods know where their towel is.
It's a Hitchhiker's reference. Yeah. The Hoopy Froods know where their towel is.
Yes.
Nice.
So you can get synthetic wool if you're allergic to real wool. Back to shoes really quickly. B Pendragon really likes the frog togs. We got him for biking in the rain.
Yeah. Forgot about that company for sure.
Frylang likes the Kirkland wool socks from Costco.
Yeah, I have several pairs of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Chris, we've gone down the road of
he has many pairs, by the way.
Okay.
Darn tough. That was one of the gifts I got from Mrs. Monkey for Christmas this year was a new pair to add to her growing collection of Darn Tough socks.
Hold on, Land Monkey.
Yeah.
Let's have a minute. Let's have a little counseling moment.
Okay.
You bought your wife socks for Christmas?
I did. I didn't buy her a blender or any other kitchen appliances or a vacuum cleaner. I bought her a pair of socks because, as we all know, when you're young, you know, pre-teens, and you get socks for Christmas, frowny face, tears. I didn't want socks. When you're 40 plus and you're a geocacher and you get socks for Christmas, particularly Darn Tough socks, you're, oh, you love me so much.
Okay. Hey, I did a quick search on Amazon.
Yes.
And you can get a 3-pack of merino wool hiking socks for $12.
Now, okay, but here's the thing that I think needs to be considered. Are those pure merino wool or are they merino wool blend? Because I think that's an important thing. Often the really cheap ones are a merino wool blend and or a merino / some synthetic fabric blend. And they still have some merino in there, and that's good. But I think you want to weigh more on the side of more merino, less blend, as it were,
right?
Because you're going to get more of that effect. So again, I think it can tend. You need to, it's the old your mileage may vary, but you need to be paying attention to that. Just because the word merino is in there, particularly if it's followed by the word blend, do your research, and if it's, if it seems too good to be true, the price,
It just
it
might be.
probably is.
Okay. A plant wants to know who didn't get socks for Christmas this year.
Awesome.
Oh, we got to get some darn tough socks out there.
I have some. I
We
just didn't
need
get
a
them for Christmas.
sponsorship.
There you go.
Pretty darn tough.
Brightland's looking
Watch
for
this
merino
episode.
wool blenders.
There you go.
I can't resist this timing. This is for the FATAS, but never get your wife an ironing board for Christmas. Lessons learned from my mother, referring to my father.
Okay.
Seems like good advice.
Just good timing. Okay. Anyway, so merino wool. Now, merino wool, everywhere you can get it, right? You can get merino wool under layers, right? So we're talking thermal pants and shirt.
Good investment.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Chris, you had a couple things just while we're talking about layers, outer layers. On, like, we've talked about the torso, and we've talked about the feet, but
now
we're
we have to
missing a
cover up
part
your
of the
tattoo.
body here.
Your
We're
tattoo
podcasters.
area.
The
Yes,
tattoo area.
We don't cover that area. We're podcasters.
Yeah.
Now the pant, I'm just thinking out loud now, right? The one area I didn't cover is underwear. I always wear cotton underwear. Am I not supposed to?
I feel like
That's a
underwear
tough
could be
one,
its
right?
own episode, but
Yeah. And does
and
Superman
maybe
have
we need more
bulletproof
gender
underwear?
equality if we're going to do an underwear episode.
Yeah.
So why don't we just move on from that?
Okay. Let's talk about pants. I have a pair of REI pants. They're waterproof, not just water resistant. And as I was in and out of the car and in the rain, my pants were they looked wet on the outside, but I was not wet and cold. And reaching into my pockets, everything was dry. So having a good pair of pants, I'm really sold on having hiking pants, of course, over jeans, right? Jeans are going to get wet. When jeans get wet, they don't move well, right? They tend to stick to areas you don't want them to stick to.
Yeah. Let's just talk about that very briefly. I absolutely love a good pair of jeans, and on a day-to-day basis, I wear jeans to work. I wear, whatever. Jeans are one of my favorite things to wear, except when I go caching. I will not wear jeans going caching. It is probably the dumbest thing you can do. I'll just put that there.
Okay. There you go. A hiking pant is a different cut than a jean. It allows a little more movement, a little more stretch than you're going to get from a jean, and allows you to get over logs maybe without falling and impaling yourself.
It could happen.
There you go. CRS 98 says I use trail pants. I talked with him the other day at the cash machine, and he mentioned the Amazon Essentials or Amazon Basic hiking pant. It's $18 at Amazon.
Wow, that's pretty cheap.
At that, you can get a couple pair. Wear them. They look good. They wear well. They stretch easily. You could wear it to work and nobody would complain.
So that's a good point. And I think sometimes it's, so here's the thing. If you got a really good rain jacket, like the one that you have, Chris, or Jim, or the one that I have, the Columbia Out Dry, and it's just repelling, the water is just pouring off it, where's it going to land? The water is all going to go down onto your thighs, and you're going to get soaked on your thighs. So, I mean, again, definitely the reason not to wear jeans. But sometimes I find, like, depending on how bad the rain is, even like a pair of like the quick dry type fabric on the pants, then it's kind of okay. because it'll dry out fairly quick. And if it's kind of raining on and off, but if it's pouring, you're going to want, maybe even better than moisture wicking, you're going to want some pretty good pants. But then I find there's a line that you draw there, right? So I've got a pair of hiking pants that are fantastic, but they are semi-rubberized. Like they're water impervious, but they do not breathe. And so if I'm just doing an easy trail or, not a serious hike, I'll definitely wear those. Or if we're like in and out of the vehicle, I'll definitely wear those because I absolutely stay dry as a bone. But
talk about moist.
Yeah. But if we're doing a bigger hike, I've actually got a different pair of pants, and I've here, inside scoop, I've ordered a pair of new caching pants that I'm waiting for them to arrive. They haven't arrived yet, from a BC based company, so that I want to support local. So once I get those in and I test them out, I'll do a field tested video for those. But generally I'll try and wear pants that'll dry out relatively quick, but will be somewhat water resistant. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at, Chris, is like,
Right.
try and keep the water off the skin, keep them from sticking to your skin. And at the end of the day, it's about keeping your body temperature warm.
I can't mention a lot of things that have been said in the chat recently, but IHAM says I picked up some Eddie Bauer zip-off pants at Costco last spring. Not great for super wet weather, but nice enough that I can wear to them in the office or out on the trail.
There you go. I think that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Yeah.
Rylan got some Helly Hansen rain pants, and they work quite well.
Now, I'd be curious with those if they're the ones that don't breathe super well, because again, I have a pair like that I very much enjoy wearing as long as I'm not doing an arduous hike. But if I'm doing an arduous hike, I find I sweat so much inside them that it's like, well, what was the point?
Land Monkey will have to do a certain dance when he gets his new caching pants.
All right. Good advice.
One I've heard about, there's a certain lackey that loves, I believe it's pronounced Piranha, Prana.
I'm not
But
familiar
it's
with
PR
that.
capital A-N-A. And this certain lackey, they look like leggings. This lackey is a female, and they look like leggings, but they're tough and they're water repellent.
That's pretty cool.
So
you should reach out and find out from that lackey what they're wearing. Find some non-awkward way to ask her about her pants.
Oh no, I went full awkward. And that's when CRS 90, he was there, CRS 98, and we had the conversation about his pants.
Ah, there you go.
I have to come and ask you about your pants.
Please, I've been admiring your pants all evening. Can you explain to me a little bit more about them? Yeah. Oh, look, there's the line.
Yeah.
Dora Moore.
I love my scout pants because they can be pants or shorts as needed.
Yes, thank you, Seaback Tribe. That's good advice. I think she's talking about like the zip-off type of hiking pants there.
And personally, at least the zip-off pants that I've had, the zippers are never in the right spot. They tend to be right on my knee as I need to bend down. So, if you bend down on concrete or wood, you've got, this, plastic zipper tearing right onto your patella.
Ooh, ow.
No, these are no good.
Dora Moore shares that she's been wearing her cross-country ski pants all winter. They are water repellent and keep her warm. So there's some good advice there. And Keats94 had said it's Prana, not Piranha. Although, honestly, Chris, if I had been in the same conversation you were in, I would have heard Piranha as well.
I've looked on the website. It's Prana. So I don't know if it's Piranha. I don't know how to pronounce it. Prana. Yeah.
We'll go with Prana. Yeah. But Keats says that he's had them as well, the baggier type, and says they're very good. So there you go.
Okay. So have we covered enough?
We're over time. Sorry, Jim, go ahead.
I would just say we've covered a lot. Yeah, I don't know that we could cover everything in one episode, because there's a lot to cover. Thanks especially to the chat for throwing all that stuff in there. Throw out my final tip. My favorite outer layer is the vehicle. I was like, I prefer to drive on these situations. I say, I think it's over there. Go check it out. I'll wait right here and keep the car warm for you.
Oh, what a nice guy.
Yes. It's just another service I provide.
Your outer layer's big enough to share.
Yes.
There you go.
We didn't talk about
heated
hats.
seats.
I love this from GSM times 2. Sitting on fingers to keep filtering out what awkward or full awkward question I could ask about the lack.
Oh, trust me. If you watch this podcast, we'll come up with lots of
yeah.
awkward things for you to ask lackeys. Yeah.
Hats. Your typical ball cap is going to get wet. I was just talking with MC3 Cats today, and he was out working, and he could take his hat and just wring water out of the bill of it. It was so wet. So a Tilly hat, one that has some ventilation there, so your head stays cool. You can stay cool thinking in the Tilly.
And there were some tips much earlier on in the chat, and I think we missed them, about some various hat styles or types of hats and brands of hats that are great to wear. I think Tilly is definitely. The other thing I've seen, and I don't think it's Tilly, but there's like an Aussie style waxed leather. It almost looks kind of like a cowboy hat, but not. So that if you can kind of visualize the appearance of it. I know a couple of people, Bullcacher up here in BC has one. I know a few people have those types of hats, and they're fantastic all-weather hats.
I have one. I've had it for years.
Okay.
I wore it a lot. I've switched to more of a fleece-lined rain hat by, oddly enough, Outdoor Research. I got it for Christmas several years ago, and I wear it in the wet weather like that. It's great.
With Wits End, don't you have an Australian something? The Australians in the brand of the hat. What's your hat that's crushable and packable?
Oh no, that's like a Monterey something hat. That's my summer hat. That's more breathable.
Or maybe it's Outback or something.
Soak it in the water and cool your head off in the hot summer sun hat. But then I switched to the Snoqualmie sombrero. I think is the Outdoor Research winter rain hat. They also make a something else sombrero. I forget what it is.
Maybe a Seattle sombrero.
I think it's a Seattle sombrero. That's just. I think it is. That's the model. But the Snoqualmie sombrero is fleece lined with. It has a little fleece lined flap that you can pull it over your ears. That I really like in the cold. Yeah,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go. Perfect Pacific Northwest winter hat.
Yes, it is.
IHAM says fedoras for the wind, except if they get blown off your head and into a waterfall.
Yeah, when it's brand
time
new.
you wear it.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer. Yeah.
Oh man.
I think anybody who knows me knows I absolutely love my ball caps, and I will tend to wear them all seasons and all weathers. But what I'll do is I'll basically just pull the hood of my rain jacket layer over top, and then the brim will get wet. But
right.
And okay, so I'm gonna give an idea out to anybody with a 3D printer. Mrs. Monkey and I were discussing this, and we came up with an idea. What would be like a winning product to put on the internet is if you could come up with like a little plastic clip that clips the your rain jacket shell over the brim of your hat, so that, because the one thing I find is it always just pulls back and it pulls back and pulls back. So if you had something that would just nice little clip that would go right there, because as soon as you start looking for a cache, you're bending around and you're looking around and it comes back. So there you go. So if anybody starts to manufacture and produce those, feel free to use my idea, but send me one and I will market your idea for you.
They already have it. It's called duct tape.
No, come on. Like a 3D printed plastic clip that just
go to Office Depot and buy binder clips.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you guys.
Why they got the? I thought I had one right here and I don't. They go back. It's black. It'll blend in. It matches with everything.
No, come on. Ow. I don't want a binder clip on my head. That's stupid.
You say that now. Yeah, you who are constantly pulling their hood back up.
I'm telling you, just a 3D printed plastic little slide-on clip.
Dormore's going to send you some clothespins, Len Monkey.
Knowing Dora Moore, I won't be surprised if she does. But
They'll be plastic, not the wooden ones.
you know what? Dora Moore is going to probably create a puzzle based on wooden clothespins now. So I'm waiting for that to come out.
Hey, folks, I'm being abrupt. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
We did.
We certainly enjoyed it.
We
Land Monkey
enjoyed
would like
you
to say-
guys.
Land Monkey would like to say some things.
I would. I wasn't paying attention. I was just enjoying the chat because you guys are awesome. All right. Well, what I would like to say is a moment to say thank you to Land Sharks and Gold Country Geotourism, our corporate Denali level sponsors. LandSharkz.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. Remember, they're always shipping those orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geocaching and travel adventures, check out exploregoldcountry.com. We want to thank all of our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Land Sharks, Gold Country Geotourism, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cachly, the geocaching app. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting this show that has gone way over time because we're just having so much fun with all of you in the chat, click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com, a website.
Like the frog tog wearing bee pendragon.
That's right. How about Winos Seattle? Welcome.
How
Our
about
newest.
Socks for
Yeah.
Christmas, green words,
And J-Car.
Skyhawker.
Sege Hove,
Korsgat.
The Camp Clan.
Genies,
Ackerdock. Ackerdock. That's the way you say it, Ackerdock.
okay, fine.
You don't say it okay, fine. You say Acrodock. And you say Wet Coaster.
How about Utox, Two Rocks,
How about my lunch buddy MC3 Cats?
And Tick a Magnet.
and my hiking buddy, Trexer.
And Teus.
Peach of Washington, or wherever she is.
Chris, this is for you. Just finding our way.
Thank you. Subway Mark.
Awesome Casher, and I would eat it. Gas station tuna.
Sending closed pegs to everyone. It's Dora Moore.
Candle Barb.
Kid Vegas 19.
Putting stuff in your preform tubes for you to sign. It's log work.
Geo Nav Pro.
Seebeck Tribe.
Lots of great advice in the chat tonight. CRS 98.
And he wears pants. GSM times 2.
Also
Would
wears
be-
pants.
That's right.
We don't know.
Would be Island Gal, I assume, as well.
Hopefully recovering from all his various injuries. Kev MacD.
Flagman.
M-Nerf.
Our favorite kitchen appliance, the LG 9000.
Here we go. The countdown. Ari, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Boomer 365.
There you go.
Woohoo! Well done. Dollars.
Geocaches.
Sprouter.
Keats 94, the man with so much good info.
Boy, he
The
got a lot of
Vortex
mentions tonight.
Madman.
Yeah, he did. Don't look for his cache when it's icy. Team Noltex.
Fairwood West.
Ala Robrick.
UDAC.
Doing the math for us all the time. It's Limax.
And the Arnott family.
Wow. That list keeps growing. Thanks to
It
everybody.
really
It
does.
does.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I didn't get it out cleanly. Wino Seattle is our newest patron.
Welcome.
Thank you, Wino Seattle.
Thank you very much.
And folks, thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. Now, if you didn't like the show, you're probably moist, and you should let us know what you want us to talk about. In either case, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Subscribe and give us a review. Now, if you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us a free, fabulous, fast, fantastic 5-star review. You can also call into 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, or help us dry our socks out any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cashingnw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and chat. This show is produced by Chris Umpenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Copyright 2023. And folks, stay tuned for
The After Show.
the after show.
It's all you, Jim.
How did it get to be 2023 already?
Startcatcher says, wow, one of the longer episodes in a while.
You know,
Yeah.
we were. I got to just say, in response to Startcatcher's feedback here, since we're in the after show, we can just do whatever we want at this point, which I normally do anytime
I was
during
going
the
to say,
podcast.
why start now?
It was a longer episode, but I think we're just. I mean, okay, so the whole first part of the podcast took a little longer because we were just having fun with each other. I only get to see these guys. Yeah, I only get to see these guys once a week and have a chat with them. And I just really enjoy spending time, Jim and Chris, with you guys and just having fun. So apologies to those who maybe felt that the first part of the podcast went a little long, but personally, I was really enjoying that time. And then once we got into the topic, you guys in the chat, like there is so much great feedback. We couldn't keep up. So thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the chat is really what makes this show worthwhile and exciting. And yes, I mean, I hope you can tell we're all friends and we like to sit down and talk to each other. We just happen to have microphones in front of us when we do it and you get to listen in.
Sorry about that.
But your contribution in the chat is what makes it a conversation. It's not just us up here talking to each other. We're interacting with you, and that's what makes it so much fun.
Yeah, for sure.
MC3 Cat says, we need an after show. A show wide open, no topics, anything goes.
You know, Chris has talked about that in the past, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's thrown that out. So I don't know. Maybe in the next couple of weeks, Chris, what do you think?
No rules. We'll just talk about whatever comes up in the chat. The chat rules.
You know what? I think that's a great idea. I think what we would need to do though is give people like a day's notice.
You got to give them some time.
Yeah.
Not too much time. That could be dangerous.
Yeah, fair enough.
And there was, a good section of chat this evening that could not be touched in keeping this family friendly. So,
hey, I do my best to make this podcast not family friendly. So
yes, you do, jerk face. I mean the beverage you're drinking.
Yes. And on the family friendly note, on a serious note, thanks to those that moderate the chat. I did see some things come up tonight that were definitely not.
It happened. It doesn't happen every night, which is great.
I didn't see anything tonight.
It was, I saw it too, Jim. I think it was Dora Moore that caught that one.
It was.
But so thank you, Dora Moore. But we have a few moderators in the chat. We have a handful of you folks who have hammer. I think it's a hammer or a wrench. It's a wrench.
Yeah,
wrench. It should be a hammer, honestly.
It is most everyone, actually.
Is it? Okay.
Most of the regulars, yeah.
Okay, so you all have the ability to punish people who come in here and misbehave who aren't me.
We'll punish him.
There we go. I just made Kitty Quest and Komakino moderators.
Oh, there you go.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Guys, in the past, I know we've gone long. I'm just still chatting. In the past, we've had people come in, ne'er-do-wells, shall I say. And you guys have jumped right on it and removed him out of the chat, and I don't have to worry about it.
That's what
So,
happened tonight. There was one came up quick. Dormore was immediately on it, gone. It was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. We do.
so thank you guys.
I joke around a lot on this podcast, but in all sincerity, we appreciate Doramore tonight, but all of you who have
Yeah.
the wrenches beside your name, who we have made moderators, and we've made you moderators because we trust you, and
Exactly.
you've illustrated that you are supportive of this podcast, and you're looking out for the best interest of everyone who's listening and everyone who's watching. So thank you.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Nice dodgeball movie reference. I like it.
Exactly. Seebeck tribe it's scary to have that kind of power. Well, with great wrenches come great responsibility.
I believe that's a direct quote from Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Ben said that.
He makes good rice.
He does, doesn't he?
Doramore's still sending the clothespins.
I would expect nothing less.
We got one day we'll have to try and find a Doramore puppet. I don't know. I was thinking.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
You can't handle the wrench.
That's funny. Hey, on the puppet topic. So, shortly after Christmas, is my daughter's. No, my daughter's birthday is long before Christmas, but shortly after Christmas, we were visiting with my daughter and her fiance at their place, and
The one the wall's named after?
yes,
Almost.
and we were having a fun chat, and the topic of episode 100 came up, and so I'm explaining to my future son-in-law about what happened on that podcast, and he's just looking at me like, and I'm marrying into this family.
You know, you may fall in love with a person, but you marry the family.
Yeah, you do.
Just say that. Just know that. Oh, but Luke, I am your wrench.
There you go. It's getting crazy out there in Chatland. Chatland? Is that what we called it? Yeah, Chatland. Trying to remember. I'm trying to go all the way back to the beginning of the podcast.
I don't even remember the beginning.
Like an hour and a half ago.
Kitty Quest is just drinking Dr. Pepper again tonight, though considering adding a bit of bourbon.
I'm hoping by this point in the podcast she has, because she'll probably regret it if she hasn't.
Wet Coaster says the flights we booked for the UK last week have already been changed by the airline. Wonder how many times that'll happen before we.
Ugh. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that's still a thing going on. I mean, I guess that was happening pre-COVID as well. I mean, it happens
Yeah,
every
but
once in a while.
it's gotten worse here in the last several weeks since Thanksgiving. Right?
Really?
U.S. Thanksgiving, yeah. Well, at least in the U.S. I mean, Southwest shut down.
Because you guys had a bunch of big winter storms in the east, right?
Storms, software issues, and different things. Yeah, we've had thousands of flights canceled in a day, and
right.
it's creating. It's still a big backup that they're trying to manage.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, wasn't it like the whole FAA network went down or something like that?
Briefly, yeah.
Ugh, that's scary.
That's bad. One thing I didn't read here, we're going through this, GSM times 2. So SoCal, my most important wet weather gear is my TV remote control. 17 days it rains.
Nice.
Yeah, no sympathy from me.
That's right up there with my vehicle outer layer.
Yeah, exactly. Dormore says, I have a backpack rain cover. I'm not a fan of having to empty out and dry out everything in my pack at the end of the day. I don't have one. I'm gonna have to
That
get
is
one.
Great advice. Yeah, if you can get one of those, they're not expensive. It's usually kind of like an elastic, rubberized, waterproof thing. It just slips
It's a large
right over.
hairnet, right?
Sorry?
The large hairnet or shower cap.
Effectively, yes.
Yeah. I have a camera bag that has one built into a pocket in the bottom that pulls out and the elastic.
That's handy.
It's a sling bag. I love it for camera gear. Yeah.
Very cool. Ooh, what's flashing up there?
Oh,
Keats.
Oh,
Lots of
there's
Keats.
the
Lots of
task.
Keats content.
Yeah, so Keats is back on the YouTube bandwagon here. He says he's got a 2-minute Tuesday episode going live, hitting YouTube at 5 a.m. Ooh, Keats, nice and early. I guess that's for the East Coast folks. 5 a.m. on Tuesday, geocaching with his dad on Vancouver Island and his dog Clyde. Nice. Looking forward to that, Keats. Thanks for sharing that.
If Clyde is in the front seat, can you say right turn, Clyde?
I'm
can.
really hoping that happens in the video, but we'll find out. Very cool.
Yeah.
Komikino shared something here. Yeah, he's going to Japan in April.
Nice.
Kashtaki ni Fatas. Nice.
Love it.
Looking forward to that. Oh, we're getting a signal from behind the
getting a
green
hook.
curtain here.
Yeah. Folks, oops, I thought I killed that thing. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.